former coach at Buckingham, he always says, nothing great is achieved without enthusiasm. So today I'm going to try to give you as much passion, as much enthusiasm as I can, and I hope that you guys can do the same thing for me as a listener. So my name is Ryan Frazier. I'm 22 years old. I'm a junior at Buckingham University, captain of the basketball team, finance major. I'm from Salisbury, Maryland. And I'll start off telling you how I got to Salisbury. So, throughout my life, all I was just a basketball player. That's all I did, basketball, basketball, basketball. The only thing I cared about. Wake up early in the morning, go outside, shoot the backyard. Go to school, leave school, put my book bag at home, jump on the Metro bus, head over to the gym where my AU coach work out until about 6 o'clock. My dad would pick me up after he left work, take me home, fix me dinner. About 8 o'clock, me and my dad would go out and we start doing these jumping exercises. I used to have like these jump soles, these big, big shoes. I couldn't jump at all, short. I'm skinny, I can't jump, so me and my dad are out there every single night, sprinting with the jump soles, jumping with the jump soles, trying to get me as good as I could be. And that was the only thing I did. The only thing I talked about, the only thing I thought about was basketball, basketball, basketball. Everything within me, my existence, was dependent on how good I was at this sport. So I'm at camp. Let's say it's summer of my sophomore year at my public high school. And I'm at camp with my boy, Zaid Hurst. Zaid Hurst went to Salisbury too. He just graduated from Fort University, one of the best basketball players in their history. So I'm at camp. And me and Z were playing. Z had spent a year at Salisbury. Coach Ruskin's at the camp, and I don't know if he's there just to see Z, there maybe to recruit a little bit, but he sees me playing, and he reaches out to me. He reaches out to my father and says, hey man, we'd love for you to come up and join Z at Salisbury. We think you'd have a great experience. I wanted to get out. I wanted to leave. I wanted to kind of see where I could take my game. I wanted to come to Salisbury to stretch my game, to become a better basketball player. Coach Ruskin said, yeah, you're going to become a better basketball player, but you're going to become a better person as well. I didn't really put much into that. I knew I was coming to Salisbury because I was hoping that an extra year might somehow, some way, get Coach K to come knocking on my door talking about, we want you to be the point guard and do. Maybe an extra year could give me that. It did, but that's okay. So I come to Salisbury, and I can remember driving up to Salisbury and seeing how beautiful it was. It was a quiet drive home. My mom didn't say a word. My sister hardly ever says a word. My mother and father are in the same car, in the same room. He didn't say anything. My father and me kind of just talked a little bit, but it wasn't a normal car ride. I can remember coming up to campus and seeing the huge academic building and just automatically realizing that I was in a different kind of place. We're driving up that long hill to cars. Anybody in the car? Yes, you know they did. Y'all seen this morning? Yeah. So we're driving up this long hill to car, and the first two people that we see are Rashad Lance and Shawal. I don't know if any of you guys remember them, but two really funny guys, two real good guys. And so we're driving up, and Shawal and Rashad, they both have these New York Yankee hats on. They're kind of tilted to the side a little bit. And they're like giving this like real cool little walk, real cool, straight out of New York, real cool dudes. So they're giving it a little walk. They see our car, but our car doesn't matter. Like they're walking, the road is theirs. So as they're walking, they kind of stop a little bit and like peek in our car, and peeking at me and my dad, like, who's that? Who's that coming up to our school? So, they make their way on by, and we continue up the long hill up to the car. So we get my room all packed in. I meet Chris McCullough, talk to him and his mother a little bit. And this is the first time my mother's ever been on the campus. So she's like, okay, fine, take me on a tour. I want to see Salisbury. I want to see how beautiful this place is, right? So we show her everything. We take her to the athletic facility. We take her to the dining hall. Take her to the academic building. We show her the library. She's getting into it. She's like, oh, this place is really nice. This place is really nice. And so we're walking up the hill back to the car, and people are coming in. You don't know if they're students. You don't know if they're faculty. But everyone's smiling. Everyone's smiling at you, saying, hello, how are you? Smiling. I've never seen this many people smile before. Especially at a bunch of people that they didn't know. They had no clue who I was. Yet everyone is smiling at me. So it kind of took me back a little bit. So we get up to my room, and we're all just kind of relaxed and chilling there. I'm sitting on my bed. And my sister says, Mom, did you see all those people smiling at us? My mom says, yeah, I saw it. It's kind of weird. I said, yeah, it's really weird. So my mom, she leaves in tears. It kind of feels good. It's like bittersweet. So like, oh, your mom really cares about you. She's going to miss you. She leaves in tears. My sister gives me a little kiss on the cheek, like she always does when she leaves. No words, nothing. And my dad just slaps my hand, tells me, don't get in trouble, be smart. Right? Boom. They're gone. I'm at Salisbury, and I'm by myself. And so, those first couple of weeks at Salisbury, I struggled. It was a new environment, different kind of people, and I really struggled with this concept of commitment. Do they talk about commitment still? Like we have a commitment here, commitment there, commitment to go to church, commitment to go to class, commitment to be at cross-country practice when you really don't want to be at cross-country practice and you may want to 3 miles every single day. And so all of these commitments, all of these responsibilities, all of these obligations, they were new to me. My parents were very, very free. They didn't tell me where I had to be. It kind of just, I showed up when I showed up. But that wasn't the case here at Salisbury. They had a way of doing things, and I had to get used to that. And so, as I'm struggling with this idea of commitments, I'm talking to my coaches, I'm talking to Coach Russell, I'm talking to Coach Goins, and they're basically telling me, Ryan, you have to buy in. You have to buy into this idea of commitment. You have to buy into this idea of responsibilities, because it's not just a responsibility for yourself to be at school meeting on time. It's a responsibility to our community to be at school meeting at this specific time. It's a responsibility to your cross-country team, even though you don't know any of these guys, even though these guys aren't why you're here. You have a responsibility for them, to the team, to be there on time. And it was really the first time anyone had ever told me to kind of put the community, to put a team before the self. Because my whole life I've been absorbed with myself. How to get better at basketball? What's going to give me that Division I scholarship that I so desperately desire? So I kind of start getting used to it. Coach Russell, I walk in the car door. One day he's like, hey, Frazier, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. You know, Coach Russell's little voice, right? He's like, hey, I heard you singing the other day. I heard you can sing. Yeah, why don't you join gospel choir? I'm like, nah, I really don't want to join gospel choir. Like, I'm not here to sing. I'm here to play ball. I'm here to be on that court every morning, getting my dribbling drills in, getting my shots up. Like, I'm here to go to Duke. I'm not here to play and sing in the gospel choir. But he pushed me. He said, no, you're going to sing the gospel choir. So, hey, I meet Mr. Brown, one of the most fabulous people that I've ever met. And I sing in the gospel choir, and I don't enjoy anything more at my time in Salisbury than singing in that gospel choir. Coach Russell, Coach Sheehan pushed me in the classroom. Ryan, you can do better. Ryan, you can study harder. I became a more complete person while I was at Salisbury. This idea that I was just a basketball player was no more for me. I grew spiritually, academically, athletically, socially while I was here, and I value that so much. I value that Coach Rushton, Coach G, all of my professors, they pushed me out of my comfort zone every single day. They said, Ryan, you can do better. Ryan, you can do more. And I did. And so I leave Salisbury. It's a great experience, the most valuable experience of my life up to this point. And I go to Bucknell. And like Coach said, I said it's kind of like my mother. It's like my mom gets these scrapbooks and she puts like all my accomplishments in them. And she sends them off to her friend, the way he was talking about it. And when you accomplish things, when people recognize you for things, you become satisfied. You become content, comfortable with where you are. And I had reached that place when I went to Bucknell. So those first 3 years, outside of basketball, where I was being pushed harder than I'd ever been pushed before, outside the classroom, where I was being pushed harder than I'd ever been pushed before, I wasn't growing. I wasn't stretching like I believed that I could, like that I believed like I should. Fast forward to my junior year. I'm sitting in my room and I'm working on some homework. And I take a little break to check my email. And our president, his name is President Brogdon, John Brogdon, he sends an email and he's talking about this, what occurred on a radio show at our school. And I guess 3 kids on the radio show were they were drunk. So they were just speaking, And what they said was, lynch those N-words. Kill all of those N-words. Those N-words don't deserve to live. Why are they even here on our campus? You know, I've been called the N-word before. I've experienced racism, things that I may have thought were prejudice, but that never really got to me. Never really affected me. When I read that, when I read what those students had said, I was hurt and I was angry, and I wanted nothing to do with Bucknell. I wanted nothing to do with the basketball team. I wanted nothing to do with the professors, nothing to do with any of the students. I did not want to be there anymore. So I reflected, and I'm working on a paper. It's a couple days after. I'm working on a paper, and President Robbins sent another email. In this email, he's talking about the racist statements that were made. He says, in a previous email I said this is not who we are, but upon reflection, I think it's safe to say that this is who we are. And it was the first time that anybody in the administration acknowledged that we all have these implicit racial biases. We all have these feelings that we may not express, but exist within us, whether we know it or not. He's the first person to acknowledge that, and it was comforting. So I'm sitting and I'm writing my paper, and our student president, her name is Alex Rose, and she comes over to me. Alex, a beautiful girl, so like when she walks by, you stop doing your homework when she walks by. And so she comes down and she sits next to me, and she's like, hey Ryan. I'm like, what's up, Alex? She's like, what you working on? I'm typing this paper. It's due at 12 o'clock. It's like 11:45 right now. I'm like, oh, okay. She says, so, how did you feel about the racial comments? And I'm like, okay, we just got really deep. She's like, have you ever experienced racism on this campus? So I put my computer down and we talk. And I tell her about a time that someone called me an N-word when I was out with a couple of my friends trying to get to a party. She said she never seen it before. She said that she never felt like our community was based on something like that existed within our community, but it did, and it did for all the minorities in our community. When I say minority, I don't mean just Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Indian. I mean, we have transgenders, we have gay people, people who handicap people who just don't fit into the norm at Bucknell. So we're talking, we have a great conversation. I end up turning my paper in about 45 minutes late, and my teacher's a real cool dude, and he understands. So the next day, I'm in the library, and I'm trying to get mentally prepared for this practice that we're about to have. And so like practice at Bucknell and at the college level, it's crazy. It's more intense than the game. So like, I'm getting myself mentally prepared. It's something I started doing freshman year after I was getting totally abused in practice every single day. So I like start talking to myself before practice. Like we have these absolutes, no baseline, no emotional baggage, no bad shots, right? And then I add another one, attack, be aggressive. So this is what I say to myself as I walk down to the locker room, as I get dressed, and as I warm up for practice. So I'm like getting into my mode. I'm walking to the library, attack, be aggressive, no baseline. Buzz. I look at my phone. It's Alex Rose. She said, Ryan, we're having a solidarity event. I would love if you would speak. So I go to practice. I don't remember that practice. What I do remember is being in my room and thinking about how I'm going to tell Alex Rosen that I'm not going to speak at the solidarity. Because I didn't want to speak. I didn't want people to be up there. I didn't want to be vulnerable. I didn't want people to be up there and be able to judge me, be able to judge how I spoke, maybe not agree with what I said. I didn't want to be pushed out of the comfort zone, the comfort level that I kind of established while I was So I'm sitting there trying to come up with an excuse for hours, trying to basically act like a coward. And I think back to a conversation that I had with my little sister earlier that year. And we're talking about race relations in America. And she's like, you know, Ryan, like, do you read about it? Do you study it? Like, are you involved? And I'm like, well, Aaron, I played Division I basketball, Aaron. You don't understand what that's like. I go to Bucknell University. You know what our classes are like? It's crazy. I am busy. I am much busier than you. I don't really have the time. And she says, Ryan, we're all busy. But we prioritize things that we care about. We prioritize things that are important to us. So, you know, I become very defensive. And I'm like, Aaron, you know, I'm a good person. When I'm at Bucknell, when people see me, they see I'm an example for what I'm an example of something that goes against the stereotypes of black people in this country. I said, that's enough, given my schedule. She says, no, Ryan, it's not enough. Bluntly, it's not enough. She said, Ryan, one person, no matter how great you may be, because I think you're great, you're wonderful. But no matter how wonderful you are, one person can't change a system that is inherently racist, that has racism ingrained in its core. One person's actions, one person's word cannot change that. So I'm sitting in my room and I think back to this conversation. And I think back to my time in Salisbury. I think back to my professors. I think back to Coach Ruskin. I think back to Coach Goins. And I think about how they pushed me. And I think about why when I talk about Salisbury, I can come to tears. Why I'm so overwhelmed with joy and appreciation for my time here. And it's because they forced me out of my comfort zone. They forced me to do more than I was doing. So I gave this speech. Over 2,000 kids showed up. And it was amazing. What I tried to get across in the speech was that we all have an obligation, just like I talked earlier about these commitments, these responsibilities. We all have an obligation to something greater than ourselves, to the communities that we're in, the people within these communities. It's not enough for us just to sit as individuals and solely look at ourselves and say, well, I didn't say the racist comments. I didn't say the sexist comments. I didn't say the homophobic comments. Therefore, I'm none of those things. It's not enough just to sit there and not say it. We all have an obligation to speak up when we see it, when we see racism, when we see sexism, when we see someone being homophobic. We all have an obligation and responsibility to speak up and to say something about it and to not allow it to exist within our community because we care about our communities. We care about the people around us. That's the message I'm trying to get across in my speech. And I think I did. Coach Ruskin asked me to come up here and speak to you guys. And again, I was nervous. I tried to come up with an excuse there for him too. But I felt like I had an obligation to this place. Because even though I don't go to school here, I feel like I will always be a part of this community. I want to tell you guys to speak out when you see something that you know in your hearts is wrong. Don't be afraid of what other people think. Don't be afraid if it's going to affect your job prospects in the future. If you know something is wrong, stay true to your heart, stay true to yourself. Don't allow it to exist. Not the places that you hold dear to your heart. I would also ask you guys, my dad, we're sitting at the table, and he's just babbling, right? And so, but then he said something that's like really cool. He's like, yeah, Ryan, you like tomatoes? I'm like, yeah, I like tomatoes. He's like, all right. Well, there's like 3 stages of a tomato, right? So when it's raw, it's green. Then over time, it becomes ripe. And then after it becomes ripe, it becomes rotten. He says, I don't want to get rotten. reach that stage of ripe. And when I reach that stage of ripe, I'm going to recognize it. I'm going to look in the mirror, and I'm not going to just reside there. I'm not going to stay content there. I'm not going to wait to become ripe. I'm going to go back to green, and I'm going to try to grow some more. I ask that you guys use this place to your advantage. Use your resources. Use your teachers. Don't take everything that they say as absolute truth. But listen to them. Form your own opinions about what they're saying and be able to express it. Have justifications for what you do. Hold yourself accountable for mistakes that you make. And never become content with where you are. Once you feel yourself becoming satisfied, you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror, and you have somebody like Coach Ruskin who can say all this great stuff about you. Start picking yourself apart. Pick. What can I do better? What can I do better? And you'll feel much better about yourself. You'll feel much better about your place in this crazy, crazy world that we live in. And finally, be where you are. You're here right now. And I appreciate you guys' undivided attention. When you're in math class, statistics class, when you don't really like statistics, try to get something out of that statistics class while you're there for those 45 minutes. Really envelop yourself in everything that you do. Give it your all. Give it passion. Give it enthusiasm. And you'll be able to find something rewarding out of everything that you're involved in. So, thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, please ask them. If not, I understand. But I love to talk to you guys. I love to answer anything that you have. And if you don't, maybe we can just talk whenever everybody leaves. So.